And then of course you have your training program, you know, which is incredible, the Wolf Pack, that I'm sure you guys are sharing to your listeners and whatnot. But what about the person who is funded right now and is sitting on, let's say, I mean, you talk to people every day. I talk to people every day. $200,000,
$50,000 to $500,000 in assets that you have liquid
or semi-liquid, right?
Yeah, well, if you have that money sitting in your bank account, the bad news is that's being eroded every day by inflation and will continue to be. So yeah, I mean, you've got to get that into real estate ASAP or something. I definitely think real estate is the best asset you can have. A lot of it has to do with what's on that board behind you there, the different ways to make money in real estate, which just happens to be on the board for me. That was a coincidence. But obviously gives, if you own rental properties, for example, it gives you cash flow and it gives you appreciation. It gives you, you can use leverage. The great thing is you don't even have to, if you had 50K and you go to the bank's putting in more money than you are, you're getting the benefit of the appreciation. You're getting the tax benefits. They're getting a little bit of interest. Even if the rates went up, they're still making very little compared to what you can make on a piece of real estate. So get your money working for you. I just had one of my students is a dentist. He just sold his practice and got well into the 7 figures. And I'm helping him now to take that money and put it into rental properties so he can replace his income and he won't have to go to an office anymore. And so he's very happy about that. And so if you have money sitting on the sidelines, get it working for you so you can take advantage of all the pluses that real estate provides. And I can't think of a better answer than that, because that's exactly what I did. And I wouldn't be in this position had I not done that.
Go.
May I? Sorry.
It's your show, babe.
No, it's not my show.
Go.
I'm a bossy guest. I'm just a really bossy guest. I mean, I talk to investors all the time too. Actually, one of my favorite clients is actually a dentist as well, who sold his practice. And he's super, he loves to get into the granular analysis of what's happening in the market and when he should buy and when he shouldn't buy, and exactly the return on investment that we need in every, in every property forum and that kind of thing. That type of person right now is coming to me, and I'm sure they're coming to you as well, with concerns that they're not buying at the bottom of the market. And so what are you saying to people who are like, I think I'm going to hold just for a few more months or until November or December to wait and see what happens? What are you telling people who are having that concern right now?
So I'm saying, quit trying to time the market. So if you know how to time the market, you should buy lottery tickets and you don't have to worry about real estate or anything else for that matter. So for example, if you were to buy a rental property today for $100,000 and it rented for $800 a month, and let's say that property went down to 50K and it's still giving you $800 a month, 6 months from now, who cares what it's worth? You're not going to sell it. What you're buying is you're buying that $800 a month. You're buying that income that's being generated. So if you waited, let's say in a year, let's say it did drop, however much in a year. Well, if you're giving up that $800 a month rent times a year, that's $10,000 you would have got in income. And so if you would have been correct that the market dropped, great, lucky you. But what if the market goes up? What if before COVID you said, oh, we're heading into COVID, we're heading into this pandemic, obviously prices are going to drop, so I'm just going to wait. Well, now you may have waited too long and now you can't get into the market. So quit trying to time the market. The other great news, if you're buying a property, even if it doesn't cash flow as much as you'd love, if you bought a rental property today, it didn't cash flow as much as you would like, well, guess what? Just wait, because what's tied to inflation more than anything? Rent. Rent is going to go up. And so if you're buying rental properties that are maybe giving you a mediocre yield right now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, they're going to be giving you a phenomenal yield. But if you wait, let's say that the prices do drop. Let's say you came to me and said, Mike, I want to buy one of your rental properties and it's giving $800 a month rent. I'm going to sell it for this. If my rental property if I'm getting $1,200 a month rent, I'm going to sell it for that because it's giving me a higher yield. And so don't try to time the market. I don't know anybody, including myself, who's ever successfully done that. I don't know anybody who sold on that exact perfect day and got the every last penny out of their property. I don't know anybody who bought at the very bottom. The market shifts so quickly. When things hit top and all of a sudden it turns very quickly and drops very quick. And when it hits bottom and suddenly can't drop any further. It bounces back extremely quickly, and then you can't buy into the market. You're competing against other people. So my best advice is quit trying to time the market. And I'll give you another quote. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. And so I had some clients that were in the middle of purchasing some properties from me in Atlanta right as COVID was unfolding. And they were thinking of backing out of the deal. And I said, you're crazy to back out of the deal, because these rental properties, people are not going to be, people are obviously going to be spending a lot of time at home. The rents are going to go up, which they did. And you're not going to pay the same for this property when COVID ends as you are today. And luckily they listened to me, and now they're laughing. But had they not listened and talked themselves out of it, they'd be paying a heck of a premium to get that same property today. And so quit trying to time the market, and don't wait to buy real estate. Buy it ASAP.
Buy it and wait.
Get your money working for you.
So one of the things that I'm hearing from you, and I'm going to go here because you and I have talked about this off camera a couple times, is you want to get real estate, but I mean, it's also, we want to make sure that you're not just buying any real estate. You want to make sure you're finding the right deals, right? Like you don't want to just like whimsically throw your money around at the same time, right? Like you want to make sure
What's happening?
That's just messing up. So you want to make sure that you're finding the right deals in the market. And so what I'm hearing from you there is, how do you quantify a good deal? It has nothing to do with the price. It has more to do with the cash flow. And if that asset is cash flowing properly, even if the value goes down, you're still good because it's going to cash flow. And usually in depressed markets, the rental markets are actually benefiting because foreclosures go up, there's more demand on rentals. And so that kind of supports it, right? And we've talked about this on previous videos on the channel. And so is that really, like if you had somebody right now, that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for those deals, because there's deals in every environment, every market. You're looking for the deals that are cash flowing.
Well, you're looking for cash flow, but even before you look for cash flow, I'm going to give just really quickly a rundown on the things you want to look for when you're picking a market and a property.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do is you want to get into a market that is landlord friendly. And so an example of a place that isn't landlord friendly is California. We'll use that as an example. It could take you a year. I actually have a friend, it took him 18 months to get rid of a tenant that wasn't paying him. 18 months, because when the government is in favor of the tenants, they all learn the laws inside out. They know exactly how to stall as long as possible. They know how to get, we're supposed to go to court on this date. Oh, I know, I'm sick, I can't go that date. And then it gets bumped months and months. Anyway, if these people took as much time to study law and get their law degree, they'd be a lot better off in becoming professional tenants, but they don't. They're going to make your life miserable. So number one thing you want to look for is a place that's landlord friendly. I personally love Atlanta. I love Georgia's very, very business friendly, very landlord friendly, but there's lots of others as well. That's just one example. Number two thing that I'm going to look at is, what is the likelihood of appreciation? Now, appreciation comes from just obviously supply and demand. The more demand there is on a market, well, where are people moving? During COVID, a lot of people's businesses got shut down. A lot of people lost their job. Where are they going to move to? They're going to move to a place that has lots of job creation. Where else are they going to move if they don't have very much money in their bank account? A place that's affordable. So once again, I'll use Atlanta, Georgia as a great place to invest. California, on the other hand, or New York, extremely expensive places to live, very unaffordable.
Bad weather.
I always look at appreciate. What was that? Sorry.
Bad weather.
Bad weather. Well, California, not so much. New York.
Oh,
yes.
California's good. Yeah. New York.
California's got good weather, but that second thing is so important, because that's how you create wealth. I would much rather have bought a property 2 years ago before COVID in a place that went up, $75 or $100 or $200,000 per property, as opposed to going for what most people go for first. And that's like, oh, that extra $50 in cash flow. So that's the number three thing I look at is, okay, while I'm buying these properties in markets where I can get rid of bad tenants so that I can replace them and always have that cash flow coming in, but being in the path of progress where that home is going to go up tremendously. While I'm holding that, I obviously want to get the best cash flow I can, but I'm not going to substitute a little bit more cash flow for being in that proper market. So the third thing I look at is cash flow. Most people just focus right on that first. They forget it. They don't even look at those other two things. And that's where they get in trouble because, yeah, you got a little bit extra cash flow in theory, but that's what I call paper returns. If you buy in the wrong market, even though it might look like you're getting really good cash flow, you're buying that, $30,000 property in Detroit that allegedly is going to give you $800 a month in rent. Well, yeah, if
you say
if you're a
Detroit,
tenant,
it just hurts everywhere.
no offense. I know there's probably people in Detroit that are watching this. I mean, any offense, but what I do mean is there's places where you get super cheap properties. There's a reason why they're still cheap. And if they're really cheap still, after going through a recession where 95% of the markets went up a lot, then I would start questioning, well, if it didn't go up, what are the chances it's ever going to go up? And so, yeah, if you ended up holding on to your properties, your tenants actually paid you, which is unlikely because guess what? They're all moving away. People are moving away looking for jobs. Usually those markets have very high unemployment. People are leaving looking for employment, and you're going to have a hard time getting the actual returns that you were thinking you were going to get. And so, but I know a lot of people that became multi-millionaires during COVID because they were in the right markets and their homes went up in value. I want one of my clients has 14 properties in Atlanta that he bought for me, and he made well into the millions. He wasn't a millionaire before COVID, but COVID made him a millionaire. And so had he got that extra few bucks in rent while he was holding those properties in another market, he probably wouldn't be quitting his job. So those are things you want to consider when you're picking the market, picking where you want to buy those properties, and do it in that order. I don't care how much appreciation there's likely to be if I can't get rid of a bad tenant. And if I can't get that appreciation, I don't really care how good the cash flow is. So do things in the right order, and that's how you get the best results.
That advice is worth millions of dollars.
You actually should sell this video for millions.
Not exaggerating. Not exaggerating. I'm just sitting here going cha-ching, cha-ching,
For free
cha-ching. This
for our
is amazing.
subscribers.
Yeah, to be able to have access to you and to your insights and to the opportunity that you have created, not only for yourself and your family, but for thousands of other people at this point in your game. It's just, it blows me away. It takes my breath away.
There's all stuff that I did not know 33 years ago. And I wish I could have known that back then, because I could have avoided some of this roller coaster that I was on. But in any case, after doing, thousands of transactions, I look back at what worked the best. This is the stuff I've come up with as a result of that. So we have a lot of case studies. We have a lot of research. It wasn't just something I woke up one day and said, oh, we should do this. It's something that I had to go through the trenches to learn, but I love to share it, because why do people need to go and mess up when it's unnecessary to do that?
Totally.
Right. You can't learn that even in an MBA program. And I'm hearing the value of working with someone like you, as opposed to going out and trying to do it alone. If you're working with in your city, I mean, a few things came to my mind. Most people want to buy investment properties in their neighborhood or in their town or within like a 30-mile radius, right? Yeah. Not always the most savvy thing to do. It's uncomfortable to imagine stretching out of that comfort zone where you don't know the neighborhoods and you don't know anything about the geographic area or the demographics or where, but the value of working with someone like you and getting access to your experience is so much more like beneficial to someone over the long term and compounding their money than it would be to trying to do something in your own market, figuring it out, working with a regular realtor. I mean, I won't pick on like some of my colleagues that are licensed real estate agents, but the average realtor who 95% of them fail out within 3 years and 98% within 5 years, by the way, they are not particularly the people who are qualified to teach you how to get into an investment opportunity for the long run.
Being a realtor and being a real estate investor are two very, very different things. We both deal in real estate, but realtors are not taught how to be real estate investors. They're taught how to help you find a property on the MLS. They're taught, the laws around real estate, et cetera, so that they don't end up screwing the consumer by mistake or on purpose. But being a real estate investor is a very, very different animal than being a realtor. So being a realtor does not prepare you at all, even though you're in the same industry. It's kind of like, being a dental hygienist and a surgeon. I mean, two very different trainings, both in the medical field, but very different trainings with very different implications. You don't want your dental hygienist working on your open heart surgery. So you don't want your realtor working on your investing unless they know what they're doing.
And I see it every single day here in the Phoenix market. And it's so scary. I was actually at a real estate training program a few months ago up in Scottsdale, and the room was filled with really like highly successful agents from all over the country that flew in for this training. And then there were a few speakers that started talking about how they're investors and what they're doing. You know, they're in a particular city, they're rehabbing and renovating and all the things. And they started to use the general terminology that investors use. We're talking about ROI. We're talking about, you know, what's your buy box? Like just the basic things, right? The basic things, 101 of investing. And 3/4 of people, licensed real estate, successful licensed real estate agents in that room did not know that terminology. They were raising their hands saying, excuse me, what's ROI? And I was like, oh my gosh, I was dying. I was dying. And I'm like, wow. And it really enlightened me to the fact that there's super seasoned agents out there that are really good at transaction management, at walking people successfully through buying a residential property, who have absolutely no idea about investing. And that is a huge majority of them out there. So getting access to someone like you is profound. I know a few real estate agents, I literally can count us on one hand, that know about investing and traditional real estate.
Well,
and it's scary. It's really scary. But like, what is it worth to have access to someone like you? It's massive.
Yeah, you don't have to answer that because it's worth a ton.
It's worth everything.
But the other component, and we've talked about this on past videos, and I'll just for a second do it here, is it's important to take the emotion out of the investment component of it, right? And one of the most emotional components of buying in our neighborhood, like I could buy right down the street right here, because Phoenix is a decent market. I mean, it's a little overvalued right now, but like,
the cost of living is high.
The cost of living has gone up and all these things, but from a national perspective, Phoenix is still a decent market, right? And so we could buy right down the street a rental property, but now emotionally, I'm like, if I'm looking to buy a passive income investment that I don't want to be a landlord on, and I want it to be out of sight, out of mind, and just be an asset, that's probably not the best thing for me and my personality. Like you're
just be trying to buy all the
that's
time.
Going to be bad. I'd rather buy a property in Atlanta, which is also a great market, that I know I have a team running everything, and I don't have to. Not only do I not have to, I can't think about it. Like I can't try to buy it. I can't, like the emotional. It is not
an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
is what you're saying. It's not an ex. You cannot go stalk this property.
Exactly.
Right.
So like there's right. Don't you think, Mike, isn't that like one of the most like empowering components of buying in not just buying it for the financials, because Atlanta is a great market for most people. In California, for instance, it's a no-brainer from a numbers, dollars and cents, X's and O's kind of perspective. But from an emotional perspective, no matter where you are, we're in Phoenix, great market. It still makes sense to buy in Atlanta.
I haven't even seen probably 85% of the properties I own. I've never once seen, nor do I care to see them. I know what a house looks like. I just, as long as the paycheck shows up in the bank account at the end of the month, it's irrelevant what that house looks like. So, to answer your question, almost everybody I know, especially us entrepreneurs, we're control freaks. And if we drove past the house and the garbage can wasn't exactly in the right spot, or there's this whatever, if the grass was a little bit higher than we like, it's going to drive us crazy. And now this passive income isn't really that passive, because now we're on the phone. Hey, are you going to cut your grass? Are you going to move the garbage can? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? So you should have the right people on your team taking care of that for you. But in addition to that, unless you happen to live in one of those great markets for owning rental properties, for example, well, then if you're buying close to home, you're really selling yourself short. Your money isn't working as hard as it could be and should be. And therefore, that means you're working harder than you need to while you wait to get to a certain point financially. So if you can make your money work extra hard for you and compound as quickly as possible, then you get your freedom, and you don't really care about the garbage cans on the street and where they are. Other people are dealing with that for you. And so anyway, I used to be in that position where my very first rental property was close to home. And so I'm speaking from experience. None of this is hypothetical. And now, like I said, I never, even if I were to go to Atlanta right now, I don't have any desire to drive past my rental properties. There's no need to. I don't need to know what they look like. I have other people that deal with that. It's just like if you owned a McDonald's franchise. It's like, if you're going in there every day and flipping burgers and doing a minimum wage job, why did you buy the franchise? Why did you buy it in the first place? So buy a franchise that makes sense, get teams, have good systems, and let it run itself, and go enjoy your life and get some hobbies and travel and have fun. That's what I say.
That's awesome. It's
Amen.
like 10,000 pounds
brother.
of weight off the
Amen,
shoulders,
brother.
right? Yeah,
Amen.
that's the biggest switch from a residential buyer or seller to an actual investor, is that mindset of just taking the emotion out of it and wanting freedom and seeking freedom instead.
So I know we're coming up. This is getting a bit long. I love it. I love talking to you.
We can talk to you for hours, Mike, all day.
But from a summary perspective, what I would say, guys, if you're watching this still, I would say no matter where you are, from a financial positioning perspective right now, there's all sorts of opportunity. I think if you're dealing with fewer resources, you probably have more time. And if you don't feel like you have a lot more time, I would say cut the Netflix out and like really invest in educating yourself about where the opportunities are. What are tax deductions? What are overages? How do you wholesale? How do you do different things of this nature? And we're going to be putting together some opportunities to really educate you on that. And so just make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. That way you get notified. That way you are made aware when they become available, right? Because those are going to be coming out. But that is one of the most important things that you can do right now, is just get yourself mentally, emotionally, and intellectually prepared for what is coming down the pipeline, because you can either struggle through it and not see the sunshine, as Hannah was saying, or have nothing but sunny days and opportunity like Mike does, because that is it's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of what you are prepared for. And then if you do have resources and assets, I would say reach out if you're looking for opportunities in the right markets to be able to find the right deals and know how to kind of like really break down opportunities. I can get you on with Hannah, with Mike, and they can help you kind of assess, different potential opportunities, markets, and, help you find something that might work for you in the right environment that fits kind of your risk profile and kind of like what your financial profile is. So anything else from you, Mike, on this?
Yeah, I just want to say that if you're one of those people that right now is kind of feeling really fearful and you're not worried, you are really worried about the future and maybe your financial situation, now is the time to educate yourself. And, it's never too late to change. Just because you've lived this way for a certain amount of your life doesn't mean that the future has to look like that. So educate yourself, get yourself, change your mindset around what is happening. Take that news diet and instead fill your brain with positive things and education, and everything will shift for you.
That's amazing. And people always give me a hard time. They're like, Chris, why are you so excited for this? Like, I'm like, because I'm jacked. Like, I'm just ready.
I'm excited every day. I've been doing
for
this
the opportunities that are going to be coming. I think it's awesome. So
do you have any particular resources, Mike, for people who might just be diving into this space for those, changing your mindset and training yourself? Well, I'm putting you on the spot, but what are some favorites?
I'm going to answer for him. We've got a real estate playlist that Mike and I have done a lot of videos on. You're on some of those videos too.
I am in some
so
of those videos.
I would say go watch that playlist. That's and it's all very relevant. We'll put Mike's PDF, his ebook,
awesome.
His ebook up here. We'll make available for people
for free. That's so nice. Thanks, Mike.
And is there anything else, bud?
I think a really great book is called Abundance. The Future is Better Than You Think. Now, this was written before COVID, by the way, so it wasn't just written.
This one.
But it's by somebody named Peter Diamandis, which I believe is Diamond with IS on the end. And that book, it's amazing to, the man is extremely brilliant. And it talks about how even like the poorest person in the middle of the desert in Africa has access to more information than the president of the United States would have had like in the 80s and 90s at their fingertips. And it's just a really amazing read. So if you're feeling gloomy about the future, read that book.
Yes, I love it. I love it. We're always nerding out on the new thing to read. So thank you.
That's awesome. And if you haven't already, Mike has a YouTube channel. I'll link it down below as well. Go check out Mike's YouTube channel. follow him there, subscribe, all that stuff. You won't regret it. It's awesome. So, and as always, if you have any questions, any comments, comment in the comment section below. That's one thing I'm kind of obsessed with. I always tell people, if you want to get a hold of me, it's probably easier to make a comment on a YouTube video than it is to send me a text message, and she'll attest to
I've
that.
literally had to schedule him before by writing a comment on his YouTube channel. Yeah.
So that is what it
true.
is. So I do my best to engage with every single comment. So if you have any questions, be sure to do that. You can feel free to reach out. I'll put links down below if you want to get a hold of Mike, myself, Hannah, any of that. We can make that all happen. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Mike, for being here and sharing your sunshine with us from wherever you
for
are in
having
the
me.
world.
It's always good to see you, even though it's virtually this time. It's always great to see both of you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
too.
So, all right, guys, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey, Mike Wolf here. Today I'm in a place called Bansko, which is in Bulgaria, Eastern Europe. And this is my first time here. I've been traveling around Europe for a couple of months now. And this is, I think, my 7th country so far, and many more to come. But it's all possible because of the passive income I've created through real estate. So if you want to learn how to do this too, make sure you click the link below. We'll have a conversation to see if my Wolf Pack, which is my mentorship program, is right for you.